In the quiet town of Ijebode, two boys, Lamide and Akindele, grew up with the same hunger for something better. From the moment they built their first go-kart using old tires as sticks, it was clear that these two were destined to do life together. Lamide was the talkative, always coming up with ideas and always chasing something. They didn't just share secrets, they shared pain, hunger, shame, and hope. Lamide's parents sold dry fish in the markets. They didn't have much, but they were united. Akindele's mother, Mama Fumilayo, was a struggling trader. His father died when he was just 5 and she carried the weight of the family on her small back. Every weekend, the two boys would join their mothers in the markets. They turned it into a game of who will sell the most. People started calling them Akinukwa with big dreams. After secondary school, their lives took slightly different turns. Lamide gained admission into the Polytechnic in Abeokuta to study business administration. Akindele, who didn't pass all his subjects, stayed back home and helped his mother in the shop. Still, Lamide never forgot his friend. Every new thing he learnt, he sent notes, voice messages, and screenshots. He would say, Akin, no dull yourself, oh. This thing when they teach us fit change your life if you apply them to that small business. Lamide began saving money from his small allowance, and before his second year, he started dropshipping gadgets and the likes. When his first 5,000 naira profits came in, he called Akindele in the middle of the night and they celebrated it like it was 500,000 naira. Soon, the profits grew. Lamide saved, reinvested, and eventually bought a fairly used laptop. He taught Akindele how to open a business Instagram page, how to run ads, how to market to big boys and girls who like shiny things. He even sent him 30,000 naira to start his own hustle from Ijebode. Use and start small, Lamide said. Don't wait till you gather big capital. Now small drops they form river. Akindele was thankful. At least that was what he said. By the time Lamide finished his HND, he was no longer a small boy. He moved to Lagos, rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Surulere, bought a used Toyota Corolla, had to dispatch riders under his business name, Laken Ventures, a name formed from combining his and Akindele's names. Everything he had, he made sure Akindele benefited. He flew him from Ijebode and gave him a room in his house. He told people, this is not just my friend, this is my brother. If I eat, he eats. If I rise, then we rise together. Every business idea, every contact, every financial breakthrough, Lamide shared it all. Sometimes people asked, how you dare sure say this a friend no go ever betray you? Lamide will laugh. Akindele, that one? He's not just a friend. He's the reason I didn't give up. There are people you don't fear. Not because you are foolish, but because their loyalty is deeper than blood. But slowly, very slowly, things began to shift. Akindele was no longer that boy who clapped when Lamide made money. He had watched Lamide's Instagram grow, watched him go for networking events, take pictures with celebrities, receive online praise, and now being invited to speak at youth conferences. People started calling him Boss Lams. Girls flocked, and Akindele was still just the guy that helps Lamide. Even though Lamide had begged him to take initiative, to run ads for his own page, to start a YouTube channel to teach tailoring, something he was gifted at, Akindele hesitated. He told himself he needed time, but deep inside he had begun to feel left behind. One night, Lamide returned home from a business meeting and threw a bunch of notes on the table. That's the first profit from the new tech consignment, bro. Over 700,000 naira profits. You know say this one go long. Wait till we land the next batch. We go hammer big time. He hugged Akindele. He meant every word. It was real joy. But Akindele didn't sleep that night. He lay on the bed with his eyes open, thinking, not about the money, but about the we. Was it really we anymore? He asked. Or am I just being carried along out of pity? 2 weeks later, Lamide got an international deal that could change everything. A bulk order of small gadgets from a supplier in Hong Kong. Total worth over 7 million naira. He was excited. Akin, now you are go send. I trust only you to handle this. We go blow. He handed him the documents. He wired funds. He gave him power, and he never suspected, not for 1 second, that the bond he swore was unbreakable had already cracked. After that, the jealousy began to creep in. Lamide still didn't notice that a crack had occurred in the friendship. Then the jealousy skyrocketed to 100 degrees when Lamide's phone never stopped ringing. Calls from clients, business partners, female admirers, podcast hosts, YouTubers asking for interviews. Akindele would sit on the couch in the living room, wondering why he's not the one getting all this, while Lamide's laughter echoed from his room. And whenever he was done, he would say, grinning, Guy, now one brand like that won't sign ambassador deal. Can you imagine? Me, that small boy from Ijebu Market. And Akindele would smile too. But deep down, he wondered, why not me? Don't I deserve it too? Then came the social media posts. Lamide would post pictures of his dispatch bags, his small office, his team, and his success story. He would tag Akindele sometimes. Shout out to my day one bro. But the likes, the comments, the attention always came to Lamide. People started stopping him in public. Boss Lance, I admire you. Thank you for motivating me from a distance. Akindele would stand beside him and watch, smiling. But inside, something had been tampered. He began to count the things Lamide had that he didn't. A car, a business name, a brand, an audience, and worst of all, admiration. People looked at Lamide and saw greatness. People looked at him and saw just Lamide's friend. Akindele tried to encourage himself. Maybe it's not just my time yet. At least I'm learning from him. He hasn't done anything wrong. But the thoughts wouldn't leave. He started interpreting Lamide's kindness as pride. If Lamide gave him money, he felt like he was being pitied. If Lamide advised him, he felt talked down too. If Lamide posted an achievement, he felt it was a subtle competition. And when Lamide once joked in front of 2 other friends saying, Aki is my twin, but not today serious. If we focus small, you go even get money past me. Akindele smiled, but his heart sank. That night he didn't sleep. So this is how he sees me, as an unserious fellow. After everything, he stopped laughing at Lamide's joke. He started keeping to himself, and whenever he sees Lamide smiling and hugging people, something in him whispered, he doesn't need you anymore. Then one day in February, everything truly changed. Lamide received an alert of 1.2 million naira in one transaction. He ran out of his room in excitement, waving his phone. Akin, can you imagine? Now just one single client buy 50 smartwatches for his staff retreat. My God, he was so happy. He grabbed Akindele by the shoulders and said, Omo, we go soon enter 7 figures steady. Just imagine when we both have offices, brands, even staff. I swear, I will make sure you never lack. But the words, I will make sure you never lack, stuck in Akindele's chest like a rusty nail. He nodded. He smiled, but in his mind, a voice screamed, Who told you I need you to feed me? Who told you I can't stand on my own? Do you think I am your charity case? That was the day the seed of jealousy blossomed into full-grown bitterness. Not because Lamide had done anything wrong, but because Akindele allowed comparison to become a poison in his heart. He didn't hate Lamide, he just couldn't love him anymore, not while standing in his shadows. Now, we all know that there is something about old friends. Their silence can speak louder than a stranger's scream. But Lamide didn't still notice this. He was too busy chasing orders, networking and preparing for what he called the big move, a showroom in Ikeja where his products would be on display. He was living his dream, but deep within that dream, cracks were forming. Akindele no longer asked questions about the business. He stopped joining Lamide to brainstorm names for new tech bundles. No more long nights discussing shipping strategies or how to reduce delivery complaints. Lamide thought maybe he was just tired. Until one day, he came back from a short trip and found Akindele's room locked from the inside. He knocked. "Aki, my guy, you know here say I don't mind." Aki answered with a flat voice. "Oh, welcome." Lamide stood outside the door confused. "Guy, what's wrong? Are you alright?" "Yes, I am," Aki replied, but he wasn't, and Lamide felt it. Weeks passed. Lamide received an order of 180,000 naira from a client in Lekki. He was held up in the traffic, so he sent the package through Akindele. That night, he asked, "Hope the delivery went well." Akindele replied, "Yes." She transferred straight. "I gave the dispatch guy cash for fuel from the change." "Nice one. Thank you, bro," Lamide replied. But the next morning, he noticed something. He opened the business app and saw that the client had actually paid 160,000 naira via transfer. The remaining 20,000 naira wasn't mentioned. It was small, nothing big enough to spark war. But Lamide remembered the Akindele he used to know, the one who will reject something that is not for him. He brushed it off. Maybe he just forgot, but something in his gut twisted, and that twist stayed with him. One Saturday evening, after a youth business seminar in Yaba, Lamide's friend and fellow tech dealer Folani pulled him aside. "Lams, abeg no vex o. You sabi say I no like gossip, but I did notice something say this your guy dey para." "Which guy?" Lamide asked. "Akindele now. Dat guy no too dey hide emotion. He dey talk say you dey always carry business dey form boss over am, say you suppose be co-founder." Lamide's heart dropped. "Co-founder? Na wetin I hear o. Even the way you dey talk sometimes, e no dey sweet my ear. I just say make I tell you as a friend, just be careful." Lamide forced a smile. Maybe na misunderstanding, but all night he couldn't sleep. He thought about the years, the hunger, the markets, the loyalty, the laughter, and the trust. Had it all changed? Was he now the enemy in the eyes of the brother he once shared a bar with when the food was only enough for one? He thought deeply that night, and for the first time, he prayed, "Dear Lord, if anything is hiding in the dark, reveal it before it's too late." We all know jealousy is not always loud. Sometimes it wears a calm face, helps you carry your bag and says, "God bless you," after you sneeze. That was Akindele. He still woke up very early in the morning to sweep the house, still made sure Lamide's generator had fuel, still helped organize his tech items before dispatch. He even followed him to some business meetings, nodding when needed, smiling for the camera and saying yes sir to clients like the perfect assistant. But when he was alone, that smile disappeared. He started spending more time sitting outside doing practically nothing, just to avoid sitting down with his friend Lamide. He would hold his phone but scroll without focus. His appetite dropped. His mood was now unpredictable. Silent 1 minute and laughing too loud the next minute. Sometimes, Lamide would walk past his room at night and hear soft sniffles. But whenever he knocked, Akindele would cough loudly, clear his throat and say, "I am fine, bro." He became two people in one body, the bitter friend and the loyal brother. One day, Lamide got a mail. An international agency that specializes in rural tech distribution across Africa has found a startup page on LinkedIn. They wanted a pilot partnership for Nigeria. If it went well, they were willing to invest in distribution bikes, hire staff, and fund expansion across West Africa. The amount on the table was 28 million naira. Lamide was shaking when he read it. He ran straight to Akindele's room screaming, "Akin, Jesus, wake up, wake up. I don't know if I should cry or faint. See this email. Read it." Akindele was rubbing his eyes, still drowsy. He read it once and then twice. His mouth went dry ASAP. Lamide didn't notice the silence. He was pacing up and down, ranting and dancing. "They said I need to submit my business records and team structure. Omo, Akin. Now maybe this Lamide from Ijebu market. Kai, this is God." And then he stopped talking because he looked up and saw tears in Akindele's eyes. He rushed to him. "Kai, why are you crying?" Akindele laughed and quickly wiped his face. "No be cry, I just dey very happy for you." Lamide believed him. He didn't see the war in Akindele's heart. He didn't see that the man hugging him and saying congratulations was also holding in the scream. Why not me? For the next few days, Akindele was more helpful than ever. He helped Lamide draft the proposal, helped print out the CSC documents, even helped rearrange the small storeroom to look more like an office. He stayed up with him till 2 a.m. doing mock presentations. He encouraged him, advised him, prayed with him. But when Lamide wasn't looking, he would sigh deeply. He would shake his head. He would look at the mirror and mutter, "All this effort, and I'm still like a shadow." He hated himself for feeling that way, but he couldn't stop it. And that night, after Lamide got the official confirmation that the agency was flying to Nigeria to finalize the deal, he threw a small celebration at home, just the two of them. He raised his drink and said, "To my brother Akindele, if I blow, you blow. If I eat, you eat. There is no Lamide without you." Akindele smiled. He toasted. He hugged him, but his heart whispered, "Don't I deserve these good things too?" A day after the celebration, he received a call from one of Lamide's former clients, Mr. Nwachukwu, a bulky businessman who once bought tech items in bulk and had hinted at funding Lamide's warehouse expansion before disappearing. "Ah, Akindele, my guy, you dey with Lamide? I want to discuss something urgent with him." Akindele paused. Lamide was in the bathroom. The call wasn't suspicious. The client just wanted to reconnect. For the first time, Akindele said, "Hey boss." He stepped out. "But if you don't mind, you can tell me whatever it is. I'll relate it with him." The client did, and he never told Lamide what he told him. Instead, he called him back later that night, acting humble. "Sir, please don't be angry that I called back. I just wanted to tell you that I can handle small distributions too. I have learnt the business very well and have gathered some contacts too." The man chuckled. You? You be sharp guy now. Well, no wahala. If you can give me a discount price, then why not? I will give you a shot. Akindele smiled, and just like that, he took his first client under Lamide's nose. He told himself it wasn't betrayal, but it was survival. Lamide didn't notice anything yet. In fact, he was glowing. The international team had sent a date they were coming to Nigeria. He was preparing everything: business cards, banners, office signage, and even branded t-shirts. Akindele helped him iron them. And while they work, Lamide said, "Bro, if this deal clicks, I will buy a delivery car." Akindele laughed and said, "You too dey dream, my guy." But deep inside, he was extra happy because he had just sent his own secret proposal to a distributor. He used a different name, Dealtech Provisions, registered it quietly, used one of Lamide's past quotations as a template. Even the laptop he used was Lamide's old one. One evening, while checking the dispatch logbook, Lamide noticed an entry he didn't recognize: 250,000 naira delivery signed out in his handwriting. But he never made that deal. He checked the client's name, Gloria N. He doesn't know her too. And then casually he asked Akindele, "Guy, who be this Gloria N? Did she buy phone accessories from us?" "Don't mind that one. After every, she didn't buy again," Akin replied. Lamide nodded slowly, but his chest felt heavy. That night he went back and checked the delivery slip again. It wasn't his handwriting, it was Akindele's. And this wasn't the first. There were 3 other names, different writing styles, but one phone number in common. A number he didn't know, but later he saw it saved as Uncle G in Akindele's phone. And something told him Akindele was hiding something. Still, he said nothing. Not because he didn't care, but because he didn't want to believe it, that Akindele, his guy from the one, his confidant and his brother from the good and bad days, had changed. So he watched and he waited. He started making silent notes, quietly checking logs, testing small lies, measuring responses and watching reactions. And all the while, Akindele kept smiling and eating with him, but something was off and Lamide felt it. Deep down, he knew that the person holding the scissors might be the one helping him zip his bag. So, he spent the next 2 days pretending everything was normal. But behind the smile, he was watching Akindele like a hawk. He checked his devices, tracked delivery receipts, made copies of clients' messages, and then he did something he never imagined he would do. He took Akindele's phone while he was in the bathroom. He didn't know the password, but he remembered Akindele once told him his ex-girlfriend's birthday was his ATM pin. He tried it and it opened. What he saw made his hands tremble. Voice notes, clients' chats, business invoices, all addressed to Dealtech Provisions, Akindele's fake business. And worst of all, a chat between Akindele and one of Lamide's international contacts pretending to be the founder of Lankins Tech, trying to hijack the deal. Lamide sat down on the floor. He couldn't cry. The betrayal wasn't just business, it was so deep. He wasn't just looking at fake invoices or copied contacts. He was looking at a version of Akindele he had never imagined. The man who used to walk barefoot with him back in Ijebu-Ode. The man who shared his meal with him. The room felt colder and a voice in his head whispered, "He wants everything, even what you haven't built yet." He left the phone exactly where he found it. Then quietly, he began collecting evidence, emails, receipts, voice notes, every message linked to Dealtech. He created a folder, named it "For My Lawyer," and saved it on 2 flash drives. He hid one in his car and one inside his room. He wasn't sure what scared him more, what Akindele had already done or what he was planning next. But he knew one thing, that he was not safe anymore, and that reality broke him. How did we get here? He asked, but he had no answer. He spent weeks in agony trying to decide how to confront Akindele. But when his fear turned to anger and his confusion turned to resolve, he made a decision to be extra careful. When the 28 million naira from the Hong Kong contract was sent, he didn't tell Akin, and when he found out, he became more bitter. He remembered his contribution and felt like Lamide wanted to sideline him, so he moved out of the house and started his own business because he had already gathered enough money and customers too. After a month, they reached out to men who knew how to make people disappear from the surface of the earth. He made the call. The money exchanged hands quickly. The plan was simple. It's just to take Lamide out from the surface of the earth. The higher silencers were professionals and they were well equipped. By nightfall, they were on their way to Lamide's house, but fate has a funny way of interfering with even the best laid plans. The guys arrived at his place armed and ready, but as they were about to do their job, something unexpected happened. A soft voice came from one of them. He looks different and he looks like he doesn't deserve this. They all stood in silence watching him. Lamide was already gone. He had even said his last prayers, asking God for mercy with all the little lies he had been telling while interacting with customers. The leader of the gang stepped forward and said, "Be careful of Mr. Akin. Anything you need to do, just for him not to find out that we spared you, please do. Protect us as we have protected you. Leave the country for now. Leave all of this behind. We will handle the rest." Lamide's eyes filled with emotion. "You will let me go?" "Yeah. We will tell Akin the job is done." "Thank you," Lamide said with his hands trembling. When they told Akin that the job had been done and no trace was left, he felt a strange sense of satisfaction. But then, something began to gnaw at him. The excitement over his friend's death faded quickly, replaced by silence he couldn't shake off. Have I done the right thing? But Lamide hasn't done anything to deserve this from me. God, what have I done? The thoughts soon became nightmares. He would see Lamide asking him in his dreams why he killed him because of his money, and he would wake up panting like a generator without fuel. Lamide on his part didn't travel outside the country. He lodged somewhere and he reached out to the appropriate authority to investigate the story he has been told by those guys. They swung into action, and the deeper they went, the more they uncovered. They had proofs, plus the one Lamide saved in his drive. Within 48 hours, Akin was apprehended. He was sitting in the police station when he saw Lamide walk in. It was as if the ground had yanked from under him. His mind couldn't comprehend what was happening. His knees buckled and he collapsed to the floor. "Lamide," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Are you still alive?" Lamide didn't say a word. The police officer stood by, just in case of any necessity. Lamide walked over to Akin and said, "Why, Akin?" His voice was raw with emotion. "Why would you do this to me?" Akin couldn't answer. The guilt was suffocating him. "I thought you were my brother. You were everything to me. I love you like I loved no one else. But you sent me in to shorten my days. You took some of my customers. I saw it, but I didn't say anything. You didn't think of the pain. You didn't think of the betrayal of what this would do to me." Akindele fell to his knees and looked up at Lamide. "I never thought I would betray you. I loved you. I did. Just that I couldn't see past my own jealousy and my own pride." Lamide looked at him, his face a mixture of anger and sorrow. You don't get it, do you? You didn't think of us, of where we started. You didn't think of how I brought you to Lagos. You didn't think of how I never left you behind. I took you as my brother. Even this clothes you are putting on, I bought it because I always buy things in pairs for you and I. I didn't even realize that you have changed your name from Akin to Judas. I am sorry, Lance, Akin choked out, barely able to speak. I never meant to destroy you. You never meant to destroy me? But you sent them, not with spatula or whips, but with guns, Lamide backed. He stood there for a long moment, his fists clenched, and then finally he turned to the officers and said one last thing. Take him. Let him suffer the consequences of his action. Let him feel the pain I felt. Days later, Akin was sentenced to several years in prison, but the walls of his cell weren't the only chains that bound him. His heart, broken and irreparably damaged, kept him imprisoned in his own guilt. After several months in the prison, he had only one desire left. He wanted to make amends. He had nothing but the fading hope that one day Lamide would forgive him, that they could somehow rebuild what he had destroyed. In the early hours of a rainy morning, he made his final attempt. He sent a letter to Lamide and it read, My dear Lami, I don't expect forgiveness because I don't deserve it. I was wrong in ways I can never undo. But know this, that you were the best thing in my life and I let my jealousy blind me to the love you showed me. Just know that I'm truly sorry. You loved me like a brother and I failed you. I have realized how stupid I was. Please, if you can, forgive me. That letter was never answered. And after 2 years, he became so sick in the prison. His body kept on rejecting treatment. The loneliness, the remorse, the guilt, all of it had built up until it consumed him completely. He soon gave up the ghost and his name became a forgotten whisper in the prison. The world outside continued as if nothing had ever happened. Lamide on his part had built a new life, but every time he stands in front of his company's new building, he remembers his friend. The experience he had with him was a wound that no amount of money or success could heal. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. I hope you learned one or two things from this story. Before I leave today, I would like to say this. Remember that comparison is the killer of peace. The moment you start looking at what others have, you stop seeing the blessings that are right in front of you. You start thinking that someone else's rise means your fall. But let me remind you, my dear, someone else's success does not take away your potential. Akindele in this story chose to betray his friend, to trust in the dark whispers of jealousy, and that betrayal shattered his life. Do you think anyone will feel joy when they get what they want through betrayal? No, they will forever be haunted by their actions. The price of betrayal is a broken heart that can never fully heal. You see, no matter how much you try to manipulate situations, no matter how much you deceive others into thinking you are good, the truth will always find its way to the surface. And that truth, when it's revealed, will be far more painful than the hollow satisfaction you feel when you steal someone's glory. If you are walking in the shadows of betrayal, know this, the lie you live will eventually catch up with you. It will unravel everything you have built. Now, I'm not here to condemn anyone, but to call all of us to a place of reflection and healing. If you feel the sting of jealousy in your heart, I ask you to stop. I ask you to look at your life and ask yourself, what am I truly after? Dear Karma Tribe, do not follow the path Akin followed in this story. Do not let your jealousy turn into bitterness, and do not let that bitterness cause you to destroy the very relationships that you hold together. Take a moment to reflect on what you have rather than what you lack. You are no less than anyone. Your life is not a competition. The world is vast and there is enough for everyone. The greatest success is not having more than others, but in finding peace and contentment in what you have. True peace comes from gratitude. To those who have felt the pangs of jealousy, know that it is never too late to let go. I implore you, release that envy, release that bitterness. It does not belong to you. Free your heart. Choose to celebrate others' victories, not with resentment but with joy. There is power in that. Power to heal, power to restore, power to bring you closer to the happiness that you seek. Let me end the story with this. 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Another translation says, yet true godliness with contentment is itself great gain. Please give the story a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me get to hear from you in the comment section what you think about the story. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly do that. And if you love what Kama is doing and you want to support me, kindly use the link on my bio or the link on the description of this video to buy me coffee. You can as well buy me a super thanks, and I will really appreciate it. Until I bring another exciting story your way, it's a goodbye from here, and God bless you.